Cool. Well, let's get started. Ooh. All right. So my name is Mickey Gaminol. I am the owner of Gaminol Tutors. Currently, we do ASVAB domination. So if you or anyone you know is going into the military, needs help crushing the ASVAB, and even if you just want to talk about, how the military works, something like that, I'm happy to help. Look me up under Gaminol Tutors on all of your social medias.
Great. So, are you doing things besides the ASVAB nowadays, or just that?
I'm taking some side hustles, like a couple clients in Vegas. Like I'll do a couple hourly things, but yeah, it's all ASVAB right now.
Cool.
In the next 3 to 6 months, I'd like to expand to a couple other standardized tests.
Cool.
So yeah.
Fantastic. Paula Williams, ABCI. We help aviation companies sell more of their products and services. So we have sales training for aviation sales professionals. We've got marketing modules. Now we're working toward doing individual done with you courses, like the one that we're launching in November is going to be about social media. So look for more information about that. And the done for you is great. The done with you and the do it yourself is kind of the three options. So what people have been telling us is that they want more of the done with you. So it's a collaboration and saves them money and also gets more of their personality and motives and everything else and style into the final product. So done with you works better.
Absolutely. That's great.
Yeah.
And what she said. I'm John Williams, and I do the back end stuff for the company. So, and I help with sales on occasion.
Cool. So today we are talking about approaches. So approaches can be difficult, particularly lately, with technology and in-person approaches. Approach is a pretty vague term, but to approach something is to get closer to it. And if you're going to sell products or services, you're definitely going to be doing some form of approach somewhere along the line. So do you guys want to just kind of share your general experience with approaches and maybe some of the most common sticking points that you've seen?
I have to say, approaches are like my biggest fear. About marketing. It's the thing that I fear the most is approaching somebody for the first time that doesn't know me and I don't know them. And I think part of that is just, you're always more comfortable with people that know you. So if I could just sell to people I know, all day long, that would be fine. And just talk to people I know all day long, that would be fine. But there's a discomfort that comes with the brick wall, I think, of I don't know you, I don't like you, I don't trust you, you're a salesperson. The whole defenses that everybody throws in your way if you are approaching them in a traditional kind of a sales sort of a way. So that's why I hate doing phone calls first. So I like to do combinations, but I've got a bunch of combinations we can talk about today that have worked in different circumstances.
The thing is, phones haven't changed in years. How you do it. I mean, you got a hand phone now instead of that you dial a number.
Right.
And what's different?
People actually talk about these
things? Yeah, right. But I mean, seriously, what's the difference in a phone call versus walking up to somebody on the street and shaking a hand and say, hey, my name is, and I noticed you're doing blah, 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 and I think maybe I can help you with that. And you say, really? How would that be? Well, you're trying to do this, right? Yeah. And how are you going about that? Mm-hmm. And they tell you and say, well, I've got this product here that would do this for you and help you in that endeavor.
Cool.
What's the difference in doing that on a phone versus doing it on some guy? See, I've been to lots of sales training courses. And one of them, I won't name the company, but it was in Los Angeles. And we got done on the second week. They said, now, when you walk out the door, you pick up a stone off the sidewalk, you flip it up in the air, and whichever way it goes, you go that way, and you sell every person you meet. And I did.
See, that would kill me.
I mean,
I
I
would just
did.
die.
I followed the process, and I sold every person I met till I got to my car. I thought, holy cow, that's easy.
Wow, that's pretty cool. It must have been a hell of a conference.
Yeah, it was actually. I quit that though because I was selling people stuff they could. I mean, it wasn't my call on whether they could afford it or not because they dealt with the company, right? So all I did was sell them and sign them up, and they'd go talk to somebody else, and they'd either buy or they wouldn't. But I did the sales job.
The setting appointment with a.
Set the appointment with the guy to take the
Mhm.
check, take the cash, and get their signature.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that was the easiest sales approach I had ever in my life tried. And I've sold everything from seeds for a garden when I was young to cars.
You did that door to door, the seeds, right?
Yeah,
Just
that,
knock on somebody's door with your little basket of seeds. And
yeah.
how
I
old were
didn't have a
you?
basket of seeds. I had a piece of paper that showed them what I could sell them.
Oh, wow.
That's
The Girl Scout cookie approach.
Yep.
pretty
Wow.
sweet. How old were you when you did that?
Well, I must have been 12, maybe 13.
Jeez.
And then
Wow.
after that, we moved to New Orleans, and then I got into junior achievement, and that's all about sales.
Hmm.
And then from there, it was different sales courses. I mean, Pacific Institute. I don't remember them all, but if there's a sales course out there, I've probably been to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, I hear what you say about the phone. I don't believe
Okay.
it.
Well, another horrible job I had was selling Discover cards at the mall. I was in high school, and basically you just chase people down with your clipboard in the mall, and say, "Hi there, do you have a Discover card? Would you like a Discover card? Let me sign you up for a Discover card." And you fill out the application with them, standing there. You ask some questions and things, and then you turn in the forms, and you would get some amount of money per form that you turned in that was complete. And that was a stinky, horrible job. Turned me off of sales forever, at least, that kind of thing. And I'm trying to give them away something for free, and they don't want it. So that was.
Well, there you go. See, something for free, the value is gone before you even start.
Yeah. No, it's tough. I mean, I think it's really easy to be turned off of sales. I've been there many times where I think to myself, like, geez, this sucks. Like, I'm trying to convince these guys to buy something, and it's something that it's really insidious, right? Like, it gets under your skin because, like, the second that I'm called a scammer, I revile, right? Like, it completely freaks me out that,
Yeah.
like, somebody would even think that I'm trying to do something that's unethical, and that's the climate, right? Like, 9 times out of 10, if somebody says, "Hey, I want you to buy something," the first thing they're going to think is, "You're trying to scam me."
Right.
And they've built up that defense over years and years and years. So I think one of the biggest things with approaches is it has to be natural, which is tough because at the end of the day, you are trying to make a sale, right?
Yeah.
So how do you differentiate? How do you make those things come in?
First, you have to talk to them about help. I mean, because if you're not going to help them, then they're right to say no.
It's true.
Yeah.
So if you're going to help them, and you can say, "Well, my intent is to help you," or words to that effect, and then, "Well, how are you going to do that?" And you can say, "Well, here's how I would go about it," or you're trying to do this and you're getting nowhere fast. Is that true? Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's an approach I would take to help you. And it's going to cost you some money because you're going to have to pay for my time, but I'm willing to put in the time it takes to make sure you succeed.
Right.
But whether that or whether you're selling stuff for us or whatever.
Yeah. That's true. It's one thing that I found that works really well is if your first approach to someone is not a sales question or a sales activity.
Mhm.
So I really like to do combinations. And, the Gary Vaynerchuk jab, 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 right hook is all about combinations. And the oldest combination in the book, the super old school combination, is basically a direct mail followed by a phone call. So basically, you send them a package in the mail or a postcard or something like that saying, I can help you, basically the same thing, or I can provide you with a report about this or that or the other thing, or I can give you something that you want in exchange for 30 minutes of your time or 60 minutes of your time, or, dinner at your favorite restaurant, or whatever,
Mhm.
and that's super old school. That's been around since the beginning of time. John, you've probably seen that one, from way back, or at least heard of it.
Yeah, and then the one I've not seen this one, but it's the most successful sales letter ever was the American Express letter.
Yeah, that was, and that's great if you've got a fantastic piece of copy. And that one was about, there were two boys that went to school, the same school, and they parted ways, and 20 years later, one of them's successful and one of them's not. And the implication is that one is managing his money in a smart way and using the American Express card, and so on. So that one is using the principles that you talked about. This is how we can help you. This is something that you care about. And this is something that we know enough about you to have made these assumptions. And so
But
it's not.
And actually, the approach to help is valid no matter what you're selling,
Yeah,
whether your time,
yeah.
whether it's a set of tires for an aircraft,
Hmm.
some of the stuff can be commoditized, but you can add value by saying, well, yeah, but I tell you what, if you buy this, we'll absorb the shipping cost, and you can add some things in to make that even better. Same thing with any hard product or service.
yeah,
Mhm. Go
that's
ahead.
that's tough because like I hear what you guys are saying about the direct mail letters and stuff like that, but that's not technically an approach, right? So you hit them with the direct mail, hopefully they see it, and then you go and follow up with a phone call. The phone call does constitute an approach because that's a direct interaction, right?
Hmm. Right.
And I like the emphasis on coming from a place of help. I feel like that is something that I've definitely overlooked, right? Because when I'm reaching out to a student, I already know they need the help, right? Like we both already know that they need help. Uh,
Right.
but I think not.
You need to state it, though.
Yeah, it needs to be stated. I think you're right. I think that's something that I've been forgetting to do and neglecting with my clients is saying, look, my intent is to help you to succeed.
Yeah. And I think with anyone, you get into your mode of what you do and you are very good at it. And any of our clients are in the same boat. They do this all day long, every day, and so they know how much the other person needs it. But the other person, this is not their whole life.
Right.
So the ASVAB is just a very tiny part of, they got to get their car fixed and they got to do this and da 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 da. And so entering from the space of I can help you with the ASVAB, you're assuming that they know that they need help with the ASVAB.
Yeah.
And one thing we did really, really badly early on in our career was we went, one of the products that we offered was website rehabs, So we would approach people with terrible websites and we would assume that they knew that their website was terrible. And we would assume that they didn't need to be told how terrible it was. Or, if they did, that they would think it's important enough to fix. So those are two big assumptions that were completely incorrect.
Yeah.
Most of the people didn't care about their website. They had 47 things to worry about today, and their website was not one of them. So that was not successful at all because we weren't acting from a position of need or a position of helping with what they really needed or really, what they really wanted.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. Yeah. I mean, I always ask my students, what was your most recent score or what are you struggling with most in the
Yeah.
ASVAB? But that still doesn't address that I'm trying to help them, right? Like
Yeah.
and I neglect that all the time.
Right. They might think their score is fine, but they don't know, you have to score X, Y, or Z to get an
Right.
MOS that they want.
Well, even if they know that their score is low, and most of them do know that their score is low, I still don't say, all right, let's try to make that, like, I am here to make that better. Like
Mhm.
I really need to drive that home a little bit more seriously, because at the end of the day, that is the objective. That's the whole freaking point.
Yeah.
So to kind of gloss over that, because I'm going to be saying it for the next month. If they sign up, I'm going to say it every single lesson. So I don't think that it's something that needs to be said in the beginning, because I'm just sick of saying, like, we're trying to boost these scores. We're trying to boost these scores. Let's stay focused. Let's stay, grow.
Yeah, but if somebody calls you or signs up and then you have to call them. I mean, you have to talk to them sometime, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then I would lead with something like, so you are interested in my help to get you a better score on the ASVAB. Is that correct? And then what are they going to say? No. That's why I talk to you, right? They're going to say yes.
Yep. I mean, their reaction is going to be like, but how much is it, right? Like that's when they start getting defensive. If I say something like that, if I say something saying you need help with the ASVAB and you want me to help you.
No, you ask them. So you don't say you need it. You say, so you called me, and so does that mean you want my help in getting you a better ASVAB score? And they say, yes, but I don't know how much it costs. And then you say, well, okay, what would it be worth to you to change your career from an infantry person to that of a high-tech tech school, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny because I've heard these things before. We read Chris Voss Never Split the Difference, and we've talked about these things a million times. Dan Kennedy, everybody says something very similar, but yeah, it's a certain level of practice before you really start to listen.
Yeah.
Like it always feels like I'm hearing it, even though it sounds the exact freaking same. It still sounds
Yeah, I know all this, but do you do it is the question. And in our classes, we do role playing, of approaches and things like that. And even when they know, here's the checklist, here are the things you've got to accomplish in the next 5 minutes, people revert to what they have done in the past, and they don't ask the question, they don't close the compartment. They don't, get the yes before they continue. And, so even in our sales courses where everybody knows, and they just saw a video like 5 minutes ago, this is what you're going to be doing. And they still can't do it because they just revert to what's comfortable for them, which
It's not that they can't do it, they don't do it.
Right. It takes them practice, is what I'm saying, to get comfortable doing it.
And the way to get comfortable is to assume that the person you're talking to wants to be your friend, and then you approach them the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the big dog mindset, Mickey, when you were little, you had a big dog. And so this dog would not take crap from you. I mean, when you were a baby and you pulled his ears or whatever and stuff like that, he'd just get up and walk away. And then he'd be right back, because he loved you and everything. But still, he wouldn't take crap from you because he was big enough to just get up, shake you off and walk away. He wasn't going to get cranky. He wasn't going to growl. He wasn't going to snarl. He wasn't going to do anything because he's a big dog, and you're a little kid. So if you approach your prospect, and, I sometimes I have a picture of a big dog in my office, so I like to kind of get into the mindset of the big dog. I'm the big dog. This is the little kid that needs help, affection, trust, everything else and so forth and so on. They might pull my ears. They might stick a finger in my eye. They might do all of those things, but I'm a big dog. I can get up and walk away. And, so that's kind of the mindset trick that I use for approaches is, hi there, I'm a big friendly dog. Nice. And that helps me get in the right mindset of I'm here to help. You may not want my help. If you don't want my help, that's fine. No problem. There are 6 other people on my list of people to call today. Mm-hmm. So, and that's cool. And I might be back. I might not be, but that's what we're looking at.
Nice.
And they can kind of smell that. If you smell like a big dog, they can tell, they feel the confidence, they feel the friendliness, they feel, whatever it is that you are projecting. If you go into it, and I used to go into it with the, oh my God, I got to make calls today. I feel like crap because this is my least favorite thing to do and I hate this. Then they're going to feel that too. And people pick up so much, even over the phone. It's insane. But anyway.
We're social creatures, right? I mean,
yeah.
It's like we rely on these instincts that we get. Like we pick up vibes from people instantly, through every single tone and every single pause. We are trying to figure out what they're getting at. We're trying to figure out what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, big dog mindset. I like that.
Right. And I also almost never do a phone call before they know who I am. I want to make sure I've connected with them on LinkedIn, sent them something. Maybe they're in a Facebook group that I'm in, or they're on a LinkedIn group that I'm in. I've commented on something that they've said recently. We've had some kind of interaction before the phone call. So this is not the first time they've heard of me. And that's kind of a vanity thing. I just like people not saying, who are you again?
Yeah.
And what do you do? And why are you calling me? If they know something, or at least we've been introduced, they know I'm in aviation at least, and they know I'm in marketing. Maybe they've read an article that I've written or something, or, liked something that I've written, then we've got a place to start. So, it's not a complete out of the blue, who the hell are you kind of a scenario, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just remember, there's this, they got some numbers that 20% of the people don't have to be sold to. They're just going to buy.
Yeah.
20% of the people you'll never sell to. And so your job is the other 60%.
Well, to be honest, in our market, I have not run into that 20% that is just going to roll over and buy without being sold to. I think everybody.
Well, we have.
Huh?
Doug Evink asked me, how do I buy this?
That's true. That is true. And that sometimes happens, but not on the first contact, even with Doug.
I didn't say it happened on the first contact.
Right.
It's the 20-20-60.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I've had a couple of those unicorns for sure that have bought my program before, like there's just suddenly money in my account. And like that's the goal, right? Like that's the dream, is that you create this great piece of ad copy and then you never have to talk to anybody again. You just provide results. From that point forward, you're not shaking trees. And so I think that's one of the big sticking points with just marketing and approaches in general, is that, you don't really get into business to sell to people, right? Like unless your goal is just exclusively to make money, more likely than not, you want to provide something in exchange for that.
Yeah. And you want to get on with the business of teaching people and getting higher scores and making those things happen, which is why you're doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
You want to spend less time doing sales, but and that will happen. But the more complicated, the more complex a product is, the more time and money it's going to require on the customer's part, the less likely that is to happen. So, I mean, if you're selling 99-cent music downloads, then absolutely, you're going to have sales just happening because it's low cost, low risk on everybody's part. They don't have to put any work into it. They just listen to it. They like it or they don't. If they don't like it, they, wasted 99 cents. So, that's a different kind of product than what any of our clients or what you're selling, because you're going to require hours of their time doing something they don't like, right? We're going to require more money than a download or, a piece of software or anything like that. In fact, we could build a cheat sheet or a chart. I've seen them about, the dollar amount and the amount of hours that you expect a customer to spend is in proportion with the amount of time you have to spend selling them, or the amount of effort you have to spend in getting that product sold. So if you're selling software to an FBO, as an example, like Motive LMS, it's going to take 3 or 4 consultations with different people in that company to answer their questions and figure out, how this is going to fit with what they've already got, and talking to the right folks and making sure that it's answering all their concerns and everything like that. So that's going to take longer than what you do, but you still have to convince at least one person.
Yeah.
You're going to have to spend hours and dollars and time, and you're going to have to do math problems with me for weeks. Not an easy sell.
No, not at all. Not at all. It is it's tough. It's tough to motivate people to, do better at things.
Right.
This is why gym memberships are, people like, you like the idea of getting better, but it takes more than just the thought and the money.
Mm-hmm.
It takes, a significant amount of effort.
Right.
And so it sounds like that's what people are more interested in from you guys as well lately, right? You said they want to work, like you have an option where you do it all for them,
mm-hmm.
or you can do it with them.
Right.
They prefer you involved with their people. Is that right?
Well, and part of that is money. Nowadays people don't want to be making huge investments, or as huge of investments as they might have made a year ago, simply because of the uncertainty in the market and things like that. So if they can save half the money by doing it with us, and putting in sweat equity and everything else. And then the other thing is just control over the project, so that it looks like them, and it's, the marketing materials are very personal and very custom,
Yeah.
So the more time and energy our client spends, the more custom and authentic it's going to be, coming from them.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's not just some slick agency doing a thing and, handing it to you. It's something that's really, really authentically your company, and represents you well, and people can see, this doesn't look like every other FBO or every other flight school or every other whatever out there,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, I guess my favorite thing with approaches is really combinations. And you have a combination that you taught me earlier this year that you learned from a course. And that was basically a Facebook ad leading to a challenge, leading to a private group, leading to a strategy call. So it was a 4-step approach, really.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
I mean, it goes well. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it, right? Like anything. So it's a lot to maintain. I'm definitely trying to make it a little bit simpler.
Yeah.
Of course, it is all automated. So the beauty of it is I have people click learn more on my ad. It sends them to Facebook Messenger where they saw the ad anyway. So,
Mm-hmm.
They stay on the same platform, and then they can start chatting with me. And then eventually they give me their email address. And this is all done by chatbots. And then as soon as I have that email address, I send them to an email sequence where they're going to get 4 to 6 emails over the next few days. And I send them over to my free Facebook group where they can get some free help there. So it just gets them to consume more of me. And then they schedule an appointment to discuss, joining the paid program. So it's a lot of front end effort. Like there's no doubt about that. There's a lot that went into that. And like I say, I just recently changed my Facebook group. So now I got to go through and find all the emails and all of the chat bots and everything like that and change the link so that it sends them to the right Facebook group. And now I got to reshoot ads for the 4-day challenge. And, there's a lot that goes into it without, and it pays me zero. It pays me $0,
Right.
So it is tough, but yeah, it is much easier to speak with a client who wants what you have.
Right.
If they're going through all of that, there's no doubt that they're looking for some help.
Yeah. So you're basically running them through a gauntlet before you do an approach. So you're pretty sure that they're qualified, they're motivated,
and they want your help.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of it. But yeah, like I say, it's tough. I would much prefer a more streamlined process, maybe with like less chatbots and simpler things. You know, the gauntlet is good in that it presents us, you know, a motivated buyer, which is really all anybody who's selling something needs. But even for me, it feels complex.
Right.
I'm the one who knows how it all works. You know, these
Yeah.
guys have never heard of it. So
Right. And then, but you know, once you make the changes and things like that, it will work for 6 months or a year before you have to change anything again, right? Or is that the way or is it something that you have to do every quarter, or, you know, how are you arranging that?
I mean, I'll probably change something every 3 months.
Yeah.
You know, but at the end of the day, like there's still enough people out there that need help with this that I could go find. I get sales organically as well, you know, and I've had a lot more experience, a lot more benefit from that. A lot more. It's an easier result if you are comfortable speaking to people. Especially for me, now that I'm a second lieutenant and I've been through basic training, I can go into a recruiting office and I'm not nearly as intimidated by the uniformed guys as I used to be.
Of course not. You're an officer and they're not.
Exactly. And they don't even
order
know
them around if you wanted to.
Yeah, they don't even know it. That's the kicker. Like if I know that if I came in there with rank, that they would yell attention, you know, they like everybody would have to rise as I walk in there.
That's right.
So, it's a pretty good deal. It's a pretty good deal to, you know.
And that's an excellent point. You know, if you've got that credibility, and you can get that credibility, you know, we talk about credibility markers in the aviation industry, you know, like number of flight hours, you know, whether you've got 4 stripes on your shoulders or whatever and stuff like that. Then the military they invented credibility markers, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, it's an integral part is knowing rank and who's next in line of chain of command and everything like that. It's very important.
Mm-hmm.
So my name is Mickey Gaminal, ASVAB Domination with Gaminal Tutors. Feel free to look me up, Gaminal Tutors, on Instagram or Facebook, and we can get you into the military at the highest level.
Fantastic. Paula Williams with ABCI. Our latest project is a social media challenge where we're creating 90 days of social media posts with you to test against each other. So, you know, grow your market and make those approaches. So.
John Williams, one of my hats is IT here, and you could tell we had some issues early on, but I think they've been resolved now.
Fantastic.
Right. That's the mark of a good IT guy is if he can fix the problems. Problems come up either way. So, yeah.
That's true. Marketing. Everything is marketing.
Right.
All right. Talk to you guys later. Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.